Hi, this is Bego, a first-year student in the bilingual primary education degree at the University of Murcia. This is her video for the final exam of Resources and ICT. Once Upon a Frame is a multidisciplinary project designed for fourth-grade students to explore art, create stories, and bring them to life through comics, stop-motion videos, and interactive digital posters.
Wait, but aren't you going to let me explain anything about my project?
Well, okay, we can do it together.
Okay, so my goal in this project is to foster creativity, language skills, digital competence, and inclusive teamwork. My class is formed by 24 students that are, in general, really motivated and creative. Most of these children have an intermediate to high level of English. My class counts with students with ADHD, dyslexia, and oral expression difficulties. For them, I designed inclusive strategies like roles and alternative formats that I will show later.
The curricular objectives align with the visual arts, social sciences, and English areas, following the Decree 209/2022 from the region of Murcia. Before explaining this project, it is important to make clear that students have already been introduced to these technological tools during the first term, and they will carry out this activity during the second term. Moreover, students will have a total of 4 weeks to do this project. They will have the support of a native speaker to help them regarding some of their doubts within English.
To design this project, I asked ChatGPT for ideas. I kept its idea of assigning roles in each group, as it reinforces cooperation and individual responsibility. Moreover, in the section on pedagogical methods in the curriculum, there is a paragraph that reinforces the importance of assigning roles in teams. Furthermore, I removed some of its rigid planning tools, like templates, because I believe that children in the concrete operational stage need open exploration and not rigid structures. For the self-assessment, I decided that children would write a mini reflection instead of just using drawings or emojis.
However, students with diverse needs can still combine formats.
Yes, this helps them express their experience, foster metacognition, and allows them to recognize their effort. Also, I chose not to upload the final projects of children online to protect children's privacy and avoid external comments. Instead, we'll organize an event in which families could see their final projects in their classrooms.
Finally, the process ends with the digital storyteller certificates, reinforcing pride, recognition, and a sense of belonging as it confirms this article. Now let's explain the steps children are going to follow.
Hey you, that was my part.
Fine, I'll let you do it.
The project begins with the observation and analysis of some well-known paintings, such as Las Meninas by Velázquez. Each group, formed by 4 students chosen by the teacher to keep equality, will have to choose a painting. Then they will apply the visual thinking routine, see, think, wonder, to explore what they see, what they think is happening, and what questions they have about the painting they chose. After that, they will have to search for information, including fun facts for the digital poster phase about the artistic style, author, historical background, and cultural context of the artwork using pre-selected sources provided by the teacher. This phase develops visual literacy, critical thinking, and curiosity, always with the help of the teacher. After exploring their painting, each group has to imagine a fictional story based on the scene and characters in the artwork. Moreover, each student selects a role depending on their strengths and interests. The roles are writer, artist, narrator, and tech lead. Later on, I will briefly explain what each one has to do. This structure promotes cooperative learning and gives each child the opportunity to contribute meaningfully. Once the story is ready, students move into the creative phase using digital tools to bring their story to life. They have 2 main tasks: creating a digital comic created with Queen 2.5 Max, and Canva. A comic template will be provided to students. There, they will combine text and AI-generated images to visualize the story they have created. Filming stop-motion animation, produced with Stop Motion Studio, where students animate characters and objects to recreate their favorite scene from their comic. To do this, they will use some paper cutouts from the comic images printed by me, the teacher. Narrators are recorded by students, allowing them to practice oral English. This phase strengthens language skills, digital creativity, and self-expression. To present their work, each group designs an interactive digital poster using Genially, with a template also provided by me, the teacher. These posters function as a digital storytelling hub and include comic images, stop-motion video, which they will have to upload to YouTube in private format, and fun facts related to the original painting they found on the first phase. To close the project, students reflect on their learning journey by writing a short individual text in English. In this mini reflection, they explain what they learned, what they enjoyed the most, and how they contributed to their group's work. This activity supports metacognitive development and helps reinforce their written communication skills in a meaningful and personal way. At the end of the project, families will be invited to an event where students will proudly show their digital story gallery. This interactive sharing phase encourages peer learning, audience awareness, and digital citizenship. As a final recognition, each student will receive a digital certificate of participation celebrating their creativity, collaboration, and effort through the project. On every phase of this project, students with special needs will be supported with adaptations, the help of their classmates and teacher. These are the main adaptations I have included. These strategies are not just accommodation, they represent a commitment to educational equity. By offering multiple ways to participate, all students can develop agency, confidence, and a sense of belonging.
In this project, students are constantly doing, designing, creating, and expressing, not just consuming information. For instance, they analyze a painting, they imagine a story and create it collaboratively. They reflect on their work and learning experience. This approach fosters agency, creativity, and engagement through meaningful and inclusive group work. Additionally, students work in small groups of 4 and take specific collaborative roles. This division allows all learners, including those with special needs, to shine through tasks that align with their strengths. These are the tasks that each role has to master, taking into account that all the students participate in every part of each task.
As I already mentioned, in this project, students are not passive receivers of knowledge, but active creators. To achieve this, I made use of the PICRAT model.
Wait, hold on. Sound the alarm. Did she just say model? Someone's been working so hard her brain is getting its wires crossed. PICRAT is not a model, it's a framework. Yes, a framework. Well, let's continue.
Which helped me seeing how each of the tools I use impact on students. Queen 2.5 Max is interactive and amplify. Interactive because students write prompts to tell the AI what image they want. They don't draw, but they control the result. Amplify because it helps them create images faster and easier, especially helpful for students who can't draw well. Canva is creative and transform. Creative because students design the whole comic, and transform because it changes the way they tell stories. They create something digital and professional that would be hard to do in paper. Stop Motion Studio is creative and transform. Creative because students make their own animation using cutouts. Transform because it turns a normal story into a video. Genially is also creative and transform. Creative because students design an interactive poster with their comic, video, and fun facts. Transform because the final presentation becomes a digital experience, not just a poster. People can click, watch, and explore.
These tools support collaboration, creativity, and accessibility, allowing every student to actively build and share their own story.
That's completely true. To evaluate the project fairly and effectively, I created an assessment plan aligned with the curriculum in visual arts, social sciences, and English. It includes both formative and summative assessment, focusing on the creative process and also the final products. I will use the 4 tools you can see in the last column. Teacher observation to monitor participation and collaboration, comic to assess creativity and written English, stop motion video to evaluate planning, teamwork and digital expression, and final digital poster to check visual communication and content integration. All of this is guided by a clear rubric based on the 11 assessment criteria I have selected. To protect students' privacy, I evaluated all tools using the rubric for e-learning tool evaluation, focusing on their privacy, data protection, and right policies. As you can see, Queen, Canva, and Genially require users to create an account, but in all 3, students keep ownership of their work and can choose how to share it. This gives them control over the data and ensures responsible use. Queen is only used to generate images, with no personal content shared. Canva and Genially allow designs to be kept private or shared securely, and support multiple export formats, making them safe and flexible for educational use. Genially, based in Spain, follows strict European data protection laws, and teachers can manage student accounts. Stop motion is the most privacy-friendly, as it works completely offline, requires no sign-in, and the projects aren't collected unless the user chooses to export it. All tools ensure that students' work stays safe and under their control, while supporting creativity and learning. To structure my project intentionally, I made use of the ECAT framework, which includes 4 key dimensions. I selected specific cards from the ECAT toolkit to guide each one. Regarding pedagogical theory, I used these cards. These principles helped me plan tasks that are structured, creative, and socially meaningful, such as repeating digital creations to build skills and presenting work to families to give it more value. For epistemic design, I selected this. These actions are visible throughout the project. Students write, record, create visuals, invent stories, and produce digital content like comics and stop-motion videos. For social design, I used these cards. Each student takes on a meaningful role within a group. The teacher supports all phases, and the final presentation is for a real audience, classmates and families. For the set design, I included these cards. I used flexible spaces to research, create, record, and reflect, combining technology with traditional tools to support creativity and accessibility. Thanks to the ECAT framework, my project is deeply connected with how students learn best, through active, social, and creative experiences.
The personal learning environment is a system that people use to manage their own learning. It's a group of tools, connections, and sources of information adapted to one's personal learning goals. It is composed of 3 different elements: reading, reflecting and doing, and discussing. PLE is a self-directed and flexible learning system, unlike the formal ones used in schools or workplaces.
My PLE is a flexible and evolving system made up of tools that I use to learn autonomously, reflectively, and creatively. I use Google Forms to read, do and reflect, and discuss. I use it to take notes, write my projects, and participate in group tasks. It helps me think critically about my learning while also engaging in meaningful communication with others. I use Canva to read and do and reflect. With Canva, I create visual materials like posters, infographics, or digital stories. I also read and analyze visual content created by others, which helps me improve both comprehension and creativity. It enhances my ability to process visual information, reflect through design, and express complex ideas in a clear and attractive way. I use DeepL to read and do and reflect. I use it to read translated content and to improve my own writing by checking and reflecting on alternative structures in English and Spanish. It improves my language awareness, helps me learn through contrastive analysis, and strengthens both reading and writing skills in a bilingual context. I use MindMeister to do and reflect. I use it to organize ideas, brainstorm, and structure my projects through mind maps. It is essential for critical thinking and project-based work. I use Queen 2.5 Max to do and reflect. I use this AI tool to develop ideas visually and generate prompts. This tool fosters active learning and helps me improve my ability to plan, analyze, and reflect. I would like to use MindMeister in the future to create visual summaries of entire subjects instead of just isolated topics, which will help me prepare for exams in a more structured way. I will also use it in group projects to organize tasks and ideas collaboratively.
The Digital Competence Framework for Educators, developed by the European Commission's Joint Research Center, provides a structured approach to understanding what it means to be a digitally competent teacher in today's education systems. As outlined by Redecker, 2017, this framework is divided into 6 competence areas that support educators in using technology, not only for instruction, but also for professional development.
The 3 areas I find more relevant are these. Professional engagement. This area focuses on using digital tools to communicate with others, collaborate with peers, and engage in professional development. Teachers use digital technologies to stay informed and build learning communities to share knowledge. In Task 3, we designed and implemented an awareness action about digital competence. We conducted interviews to students and teachers asking about their digital habits, published the results on TikTok, and reflected on the Dig Competent framework. This task demonstrated how digital tools can be used for public communication and professional engagement through collaborative knowledge sharing. Teaching and learning. This area focuses on how teachers plan and use digital resources effectively in their teaching. It involves designing meaningful digital learning experiences that are inclusive and active. In Task 6, we created an interdisciplinary project using the Rocky robot, integrating programming into challenges in diverse subjects. This experience helped me learn how to plan, guide, and support active student engagement using digital tools. Facilitating learners' digital competence. It is about helping students become confident, creative, and safe users of technology. Educators guide students to use digital tools for communication, problem solving, and content creation in a responsible way. In Task 5, we designed a stop-motion activity in which students had to create animated videos to tell a recycling-themed story. They learned how to use stop-motion studio, created their own video, and discussed environmental impact. This task supported the development of students' digital creativity, critical thinking, and responsible use of technology. The best way to improve and reflect on my learning is through self-assessment. Throughout the semester, me and my group have made our best effort and worked a lot to carry out all tasks successfully. Regarding my work, I consider I've worked really hard and took care of doing everything as perfect as possible, pushing myself to achieve things I thought I could never achieve. I dedicated many hours to this subject, being really creative and obtaining especially successful results. On the other hand, I have taken great care of the presentation and writing. I have dedicated many hours to this project, but thanks to that, I have come closer to the reality of primary school. For all the reasons explained, I believe my grade should be around 9.5. Without a doubt, the most challenging role for me was the analyst. What I found most difficult was giving marks to my classmates. So evaluating all the effort of each person and deciding what each person truly deserved was quite difficult for me, especially because I felt that everyone deserved a good grade because they had all worked hard, but also I had to reward the people who stood out the most. This role required not only organization and attention to detail, but also strong critical thinking, active listening, and empathy. Even though it was demanding, it helped me become more reflective, more aware, and more prepared for my future in education. I can say that ChatGPT, the AI I used, has been both my ally and also my opponent at times. I've had the opportunity to work with AI from a different perspective. Sometimes its suggestions were helpful and other times not so much. Justifying the point where I disagreed has opened my judgment and has been a way to rethink my decisions. This way of working has been incredibly enriching. Without a doubt, human beings have pedagogical aspects in teaching that a machine cannot replicate. For instance, the possible challenges we may face in the classroom with diverse students. AI can provide behavioral guidelines, but it is the teacher who anticipates these difficult moments and knows the appropriate behaviors to redirect the situation. This made me rethink some of AI's recommendations and humanize its responses. Sadly, this is the end of my video. Thank you so much for your attention. I really hope you enjoyed and most importantly that you learned. Bye!